Okay, so we're gonna shift gears very quickly from the green stuff, from money, to the brown and white stuff, wheat, and it fits in this innovation conference because what we're going to hear and explore in the next few minutes is the story of a major win for CSU and for Colorado that happened recently, and it's the alliance of CSU and Ardent Mills. So first we're going to look at a little video, and then we'll talk to or hear from some of the key players in that, who will give us some real lessons in entrepreneurship and seizing the moment and in creative thinking to make something very important for the university and the state happen, and hopefully it's the start of many other developments much like it.
Please welcome to the stage Daryl Hanavan, Executive Director, Colorado Wheat.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. You know, it's probably one of the most exciting things that I've been involved in my 33 years in working for the Colorado wheat industry, that we've had this long-term partnership, research and innovation partnership with Colorado State University that developed this unique revolutionary variety of wheat called snowmass that I think paved the way to bring Ardent Mills to locating their national headquarters in Colorado. And so it's with great pleasure that they gave me the opportunity to introduce Bill Stouffer, who is a person that I asked the governor of Colorado to make a personal phone call to see if we could get them to locate their national headquarters here in Colorado. Bill is he's a graduate of Iowa State University. He's not happy about what happened yesterday. He was the CEO of ConAgra Mills prior to the merger of the two companies to become Ardent Mills, and now he's the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Integration Officer of this outstanding example of a company that is innovating through research. So it's my pleasure to introduce Bill Stouffer.
All right, so it's Friday afternoon in Colorado. I'm 9 months into being a Colorado resident, and what I've learned, one thing real quick, Friday afternoons, the office clears out. So I'm going to get through this so you guys can all enjoy the first day of spring, but it's a great story, and it's one I love to tell, so I apologize. I'm very passionate about telling the story of Ardent Mills, and we'll walk through a couple things. I don't know, technology. But I think the best way to tell the story of Ardent Mills is through our vision and our values of our organization. This is who we are. This is how we will operate. And I hope you hold us accountable to the high standards we've set for ourselves. For those that don't know, Ardent Mills was created through the formation of combining two great companies, Horizon Milling and ConAgra Mills. And I was the president of ConAgra Mills. And when Dan Dye, our CEO, and I sat down and we started down this journey, the first thing we said is, we've got to build a real strong foundation for our organization. And the very first things we worked on was our vision and our values for Ardent Mills. This is who we are. This is the best example I can give you of what Ardent Mills is really all about. In Ardent Mills, we want and we will earn the right to become the trusted partner for our customers, all of us as consumers, in the communities in which we operate, in nurturing innovative and nutritious grain-based solutions. And so when I was asked to come here and talk about innovation, I thought I'd start with this slide. Everything we're about is creating new. Not only Ardent Mills, but also our vision going forward. And you'll see our brand essence is nourishing what's next. And where we are today, flour milling has an immense proud history, and it's one I've been a part of for 25 years. I love this industry. But we have to be working at what's next. And you've seen and heard a lot about the consumer, and we'll get into it a little bit. But also with innovation comes trust. And we'll talk about the partnership with CSU. It is founded in trust. Serving is about thinking about those that consume the 100 million people that consume our product each and every day. We have an immense responsibility when we think about the number of people we touch. That's why you see the value of safety. Not only do we have to keep our employees safe, we protect great brands out there. All the food you eat, we serve a who's who of the food industry. You buy those brands, big and small, because you trust them. But we have to keep them safe. And I always get asked, what do I do for a living? I always tell them two things. I'm in the people safety business, and I'm in the brand protection business. I just happen to mill flour. Oh, come on. So one of the stories, and you've heard a lot of versions. I heard the governor spoke about how did Ardent Mills end up in Colorado. Daryl loves to tell the story. Everybody loves to tell the story. I'll tell you the real story. So it goes like this. When we were working on all the integration planning about, where were we going to go and this new business, this great business of ours, where were we going to put the headquarters? It just happened to be the worst winters in Minneapolis and Omaha. And so we actually, our board trusted us, the real story is the board trusted us to pick a spot where the business would flourish. And I will tell you, when Daryl had Governor Hickenlooper give me a call, I actually wasn't in the office. And Dan and I were talking that weekend. And I said, hey, Colorado called again. What do you think? Nah, you know what? I don't know that fits what we want. And we were this close to saying no to Colorado. I mean, really close. And then we got to thinking about it, and I'll walk you through some of these why we're here, because they're really important stories. The first is we wanted to be where the heritage of wheat is strong. That's who we are. We're founded in wheat. We're proud of it. And the history of agriculture was important to us. So we knew right away when we started this journey, we're going to be in the Midwest. And so Denver happened to fit. So did Colorado. We have 2 facilities out here in Colorado. And quite honestly, one of them is home to one of our most successful innovations in Commerce City, Colorado. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But those 2 facilities let us bring customers in and see what we do. Part of Big Food's problem, and sometimes we're looked at as big food, is transparency. We want our customers to come in and see what we do inside our facilities. We have a great joint venture with Roggins, so we already had a lot of connections with growers, and we have a elevator system out here, just a real strong essence of being in the state of Colorado. We had tremendous linkages, and we still do with the growers. Daryl was mentioning Snowmass. That is a contract growing program. We go out and work with the growers of what we do with that wheat. And we wanted a place where we could take customers to see the great work that growers do each and every day. We wanted to go to a place where we could put all of our headquarters together. Believe it or not, in the 2 legacy companies, we actually had our laboratory facilities in another part of buildings. And so they might as well have been in Timbuktu relative to everything else. And we said, if we're going to move this business to a city, let's move it to where we can put it all in one spot. So it was important to us that all of our headquarter functions and everything we do as a business was held in one building. We have a tremendous relationship with CSU, and it's something we're very, very proud of. CSU does a great job thinking like we do, which is not what's going on today, but what should we be working on tomorrow. The other thing that we've done is had commercial success with it. So it's great to innovate, but if all you do is innovate for innovation's sake and don't have commercial success, you're really not accomplishing a lot with your business. And CSU, with the model we have, really allows us both to have great commercial success. And we really look at Colorado, second lowest obesity rates in the US. And a lot of people associate wheat as a bad product today. But it is one of the most efficient energy sources for the world's population. And we believe we can have the Ardent Mills brand associate with the proper health-conscious attitude out here in Colorado and bring that to life. And so when we really started thinking about it, we said, you know what? We have to go to Colorado. And so we called the governor back up the next day and said, guess what? We're sending our people out to take a look. And when we called him to tell him we're coming, he was like a kid in a candy store. It was so fun to listen to him. I mean, I know he tells a story all the time. But what's been impressive about the state, and I just want to say thank you, is that everything everybody's told us has come true. Absolutely every bit of it. And it's so refreshing to hear everybody say something and then it really be true. So we have more IOUs than we'll ever be able to repay for getting us out here to Colorado. I am a lifelong Iowan, but I'm proud to say I'm out here in Colorado now for good. You're not getting my wife out of here, I'll tell you that. Oh, sorry, forgot to talk about the highly skilled workforce that's out here. One of the things that we've really done well is hiring people. And there are some tremendous people out here. The really neat thing is as we're developing our relationship with CSU in other ways, part of that is how do we hire, and also how do we have an intern program for the ag students here at the college. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that are facing our business, and these aren't new to anybody. You've probably already heard them in this Innovation Summit. But shifting demographics, you know, I always tell people we eat around the world today because of the internet. We get to experience all kinds of different foods that we've never experienced before. And the demographics and the changing population is forcing some of that too. And we're excited by it because it presents opportunity. Water use and pesticide use is a big issue. Especially out here in Colorado, when I think of water use, we have to find a better way to grow wheat than under pivots, for example. Sustainability, all of our customers are asking about it. You as consumers are asking about it too. And we've got things under works that we're working on. Unfortunately, we're going to have less land to grow food for 9 billion people by 2050. And this presents a big problem. I'm not going to get into the GMO debate or non-GMO debate. That's for a whole lot smarter people than me. But the real simple issue is if you believe in 9 billion people here in the next 20, 30 years, we've got to do things differently than where we are today. And I always tell everybody, you can't wait till the crisis is upon you to make changes. You have to start making incremental changes in how we run our business today. And that's what we're doing. The other one is, can you really use food or crops? And this is, it's kind of intriguing because I think we will get to a point where what we eat will be more impactful for our bodies. And I think we'll be able to change chronic disease and things that are impacting our children today. I think they will eat substantially better and more healthful going forward than where they are today. And some things really impacting stuff near and dear to our heart in flour milling. Whole grains. Well, the good thing is we're the largest flour miller that does whole grains in the U.S. Reduced sodium. That's an ingredient that our customers put in their products, and we're talking to them about it. Purity. That's a real big issue, but really important for us is we're the largest organic miller in the U.S. Indulgence. You know, you can eat healthier, but don't give up your cupcake. We like that too. Cost reduction. You know, in today's volatility with commodity markets, things are going all over the place, and the customer's having harder and harder time trying to figure out how do I manage that cost. Fiber is a trend that's been around. It's gaining importance right now, and we'll all eat more fiber as we go forward. It's better for us. Free from. I always tell everybody ites and oses and eights are on their way out, so if you see that on an ingredient legend, it won't be around very long. Things that people don't understand or don't know the meaning to, those things will be working their way out, and you see that happening today. And then the ever elusive weight management. I don't want to give up indulgent items, but I also want to lose 10 pounds. So there's a lot of things that we're being told we've got to really work on. When it comes to almost all these identified trends that we're facing today, Ardent Mills is already working on a solution. So when it comes to weight management and free from, We grow barleys that have 3 times the fiber as oats, for example. Almost a nutraceutical grain is the way I like to approach it. Cost reduction. We have methodologies we can use with our customers to help manage their price risk management or their price risk. And that's very effective for the customer because then they can start making educated decisions inside their business. Indulgence items, we've got soft wheat that makes a lot of those cupcakes, and that's good. But we can also make them healthier too. How do we really look at innovation at Ardent Mills? And I think this is important because, again, innovation just to create something without commercial success, to me, really isn't that big a deal. You've got to have commercial success to it. But there's really 4 things that we focus on. One is process. Our easiest innovation is to run our business better or to leverage our business in a new and different way to help our customers with an innovative product. And I'll give you an example of that. We have a product that is low microcount flour, meaning for products that are ready to eat that don't undergo a kill step, we can mitigate and reduce the pathogen risk without impacting the functionality of flour. And what that means is you can eat those products with safety. And we put in new processes in an old mill. And that's how we can innovate process to innovate with new products for these things impacting our business. Products is very obvious, and that's the fun one. That garners all the attention, and I'll walk you through the Ultragrain story here in a second. But we spend a lot of time on products. But a lot of products sometimes starts with what we're doing with wheat, and a great example is the snow mass up here at CSU. That created a new line of products for us that is changing what our customers are doing at the bakery. We also have to align ourselves with partners. As smart as I might think I am, and I know I have the best team in the milling industry, we have to get aligned with the right partners. We're not that smart. I'm not going to tell you I know everything, but if we put 20 people in the room, we'll get to the right answers. And we spend a lot of time making sure we're aligned with partners that share the same values and visions as Ardent Mills. And so we want to do it in collaboration. And then promotion. And I think a really important story for food today, and what I mean by promotion is how do you tell the story? The consumer today they believe in science, it's not the first place they go. So they'll sit down and go, boy, that's a great story, and I hear this scientist and that scientist, but Susie over here told me on my email that I just got that that's bad for me. And so how do we tell the right story in a lot of different ways to promote the benefits of the products that we have? And quite honestly, you have to be innovative with how you're doing that. One method of a press release won't get it done. That won't happen anymore. And so we have to think about not only innovating with products and process, but how we promote our products and process too. Lastly, as we've learned with all the wheat stuff we do, we really have to be good at accepting failure. If you think you're going to go in batting 1,000, you're kidding yourself. We have failed infinitely more than we've succeeded. But you wouldn't succeed without those learnings of the failure. You know, I think it was Edison that said, I learned 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. That's so true doing some of the wheat research stuff that we do. We've failed a lot of times, and that's okay, because that ultimately set up the success like we see with Snowmass. And so we're proud to learn from failure. We don't run from it. I can go through a lot of examples of some blunders that we've been through, but I do them all again in the name of learning. So what does innovation look like in this world of wheat or grain? And the best example is one that's right here. And I mentioned Commerce City, Colorado. Years ago, we started with a process. Can we make whole grain that look like traditional refined flour? So could people eat the things they're used to, get all that nutrition of whole grain, and not know they're eating whole grain? And so we went about developing a milling process. What we also did is work with CSU on these new varieties of wheat, like Snowmass, that will let us change the functional behavior at the bakery so that they have more consistency in that whole grain product. And it's working out great. So what's happened is when we launched Ultra Grain years ago, we started here in Colorado. This was the home of Ultra Grain. This is the fastest growing product in our product portfolio. We're now happy to say we're milling this at 5 other locations around our milling network. So are people eating whole grain? Darn right they are, and it's good. When I was mentioning how do we promote whole grain products, the lower left picture is a picture of a triathlete that we sponsor. She finished 3rd down in, I believe it was at the Sydney Triathlon. And so we're trying to demonstrate that wheat is an efficient energy source that everybody should be eating. It should fuel top athletes. We should feel good about eating it. Not what you read from Dr. Davis. And then we said, how do we really change the game with schools? And Ultra Grain became a product that's really winning in schools. So as the government has changed the standards for what kids eat at school, everybody says, boy, we don't like whole grain, we're throwing it away. That product is an immense success inside the school districts all around the U.S. And it's really changed how the kids are eating at school. And if we can change what they eat to a healthier diet earlier on, we have a chance of sustaining that healthier diet down the road. And so what I feel really good about is that we're getting an opportunity to feed kids better. And that really motivates me. And when you see things like Azteca, the tortillas up here, it's in the school lunch program, but it's also, we wanted to say, could we create these really powerful food items like Ultra Grain and have it be like Intel Inside, that it carries that kind of brand weight that people will recognize it and want to eat those products, and we're doing that as well. So I feel great about how we're changing what's happening in the diets of millions of people every single day, feeding them better, and we're living up to the vision and the values of Ardent Mills each and every day. And I want to leave you with one last slide. So this is the projected growth rate for Ultra Grain. And so the first series of lines are what's actually happened. Now, you don't see any numbers, and I'm not going to share the numbers with you. Rest assured, it's not a small base. If I have 5 facilities making it, okay, that is the projected run rate. And you can see from the first 5 years, that's an extension of those run rates. So how is Ardent Mills changing how people eat and eating better and innovating and finding partners like CSU? This is the example of commercial success. We're doing everything in our vision and our values of our organization with a tremendous partner like CSU, and we're changing the game. We are nourishing what's next. And so with that, I am happy to take any questions that you may have about Ardent Mills. Yeah.
I love your last graph.
Yeah.
Are you replacing other products you have in your line with that new product, or is that the new market share?
It's a great question. Some of it is a replacement of refined flour, traditional white and fluffy flour. A lot of it is growth above and beyond for the business.
And then a follow-up,
Yeah.
what the numbers were?
No. Nice try. Yeah.
So one of our earlier panels talked about the People's Republic south of here. I come from that area,
Yeah.
and there are many people who are they're gluten-free.
Yep.
How do you guys respond to that?
You know, it's a great question. And is it still growing? Isn't it growing? Is Ardent Mills in it? Aren't we in it? We actually make a lot of gluten-free product. And so when you think of who would be better to give you the products you want that taste like bread and understand all that than the guys that are a gluten company. And so the way we really approach it, what a consumer wants today is choice. Ardent Mills is about choice. So we do organic, non-organic. We do gluten-free, non-gluten-free, obviously. We do whole grain and refined flour. We are leveraging our skills across a lot of different production facilities and expertise to help create these products that people want for choice. And so, you know, eat whatever you want. We're here to make sure that you get it safely, done right, and it makes the products that you expect as a consumer.
Hi, Bill. Greg Graff from CSU.
Yeah.
You guys have this organic line of work. We've heard a good bit, and we're familiar here with your interest in the breeding side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But what about interest in some of the other cultivation practices to help improve the sustainability of the product, particularly in the organics that you're procuring? Any thoughts in that direction?
You know, I think organic will continue to be a growing opportunity. I think when you talk broadly about sustainability, we have to keep developing, no matter what we're doing with any of our grains or wheat varieties, that we use less inputs to create the products that everybody wants each and every day. But also, you know, when we think of sustainability, you know, we use a lot of electric at our plants. We ship an immense amount of flour out of our facilities, so 1,000 truckloads a day leave our facilities. You know, we have a broad sustainability platform that we're really taking a look at. How do we change that? And we're already working against it. A great example is we're going to introduce another one of our flour mills to liquid natural gas trucks. We're one of the pioneers and leaders in that, shipping from our facilities. And I know we are working on how to better use water and nitrogen when it comes to wheat today. And we'll continue to leverage that across all the grains that we do. But sustainability is front and center with us. You know, what I don't want to have happen is have our customers ask Ardent Mills what we're doing. I want to lead that and have our customers follow us. And so I think that's where you can start extracting value for things like sustainability when they get tossed around. Everybody wants to do it. Nobody knows how to get there. We're going to make investments to figure out how do we get there. Yeah.
There's a perception out there sometimes that GMOs are involved as it relates to wheat production. How do we try to address those concerns and educate the consumer that right now we don't have?
Yep. The internet rules is something that we're trying to figure out. So a lot of people, because they're not getting their information from experts, they're out on the internet. And if you peruse the internet right now, they will tell you that wheat is GM. There is no GM wheat in the U.S. I can't be any more clear about this. And what we're doing is we're actually working through some things right now to tell the story and get our narrative back. We broadly call it the goodness of grain. And Ardent Mills is going to be leading, and you'll see a lot more from Ardent Mills down the road about what we do. I'll give you an example of how we start changing the narrative. We don't have our Oakland mill anymore. We had to sell it as part of the creation of Ardent Mills, but that mill was rebuilt right before we created Ardent Mills. And we actually brought critics in the San Francisco Bay Area to see what we do. Let's get them in and understand transparency. Let's show them there's no GM. We can do all these things. And people thought I was nuts for wanting to do this. You know, you're going to bring the press in that's just going to beat us up. When that event was over, we had 100 million media impressions. Not one of them was negative. And so what we can do is operate in up to the values of Ardent Mills, and in that is transparency. I want people to understand what we do as an organization. I want people to understand what our great grower network and farmers do as an organization. When you think about the story of why we're out here in Colorado, I can't wait to impress on our customers what we're doing is the right thing. And we'll get our narrative back. It's going to take time, though. We lost it. There's too many people that have hijacked the goodness of grain. Wheat is one of the most efficient food sources and has been around and sustained people for 10,000 years. It just didn't get bad overnight. Yeah.
My name is Cami Shupi, and we farm on the Eastern Plains, and you mentioned in your opening comments about water.
Yep.
And we've had a lot of discussions on our farms about being more efficient in our water usage, and we went efficiently from flood to sprinkler to drip. What do you see? We know about the runoff. We know about that. Our efficiency is probably killing us. What do you see us doing in the future to be more efficient with our water, moving from drip to what?
You know, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to add all that much or any at all, right? And I think you have to have a vision of can we get to an end game of no irrigation on wheat? And can we do that? And I don't know that we can or that we can't, but I think you have to have that as the end goal. And I will tell you that's how we're looking at it is what do we do to minimize and then ultimately turn off. You can't, a lot of innovation is very iterative, so you can't make the jump right away. You can't go from not bright to fully bright. You're just going to continue to make investments in it. And that's how we really approach the innovation side is let's just make constant improvement each and every year or every 2 or 3 years or whatever it may be. But it will take strong partners like CSU, understanding the local environment. So wheat is grown in, I think it's 38 or 9 states in the U.S. And wheat, it behaves differently in Alabama than it does here in Colorado, and it's different in California. And so we have to create a lot of different things to handle the change of climates for where wheat's grown. Yeah.
I assume you're in the international market, perhaps in a big way. Could you tell us something about that piece?
Yeah, so we have a couple facilities in Canada, and then we have Puerto Rico's not international, but I'll throw it in there so it sounds better. But that's all we really have. We do not participate outside North America in flour milling. With the building of the business, we got enough going on right now, so. All right, I got done on time. Oh, sorry, one more.
You know, I'm curious your perspective on the ag entrepreneur, the ag innovator. You know, you all are much further down the spectrum, but you know, how can an innovator plug into a big entity like Ardent Mills, especially in a booming area with all the innovation activity here?
We're going to participate in a couple of the events that are around the state around innovation, and pick up the phone, and I'll give you a card when we're done. We'd love to talk to you. You know, I think innovation is one of those things where it may not look like it'll work for us, but let's talk anyway because there's other things that we're doing it may apply to. And I always go back to something we did with the optimization. We have a very big business, obviously, and it takes some horsepower computer-wise to run it. And we put some things together that actually came from a completely different industry. We learned so much from them. And so, to me, that's a great example of don't worry about just because I'm in wheat that it won't apply to me or that I run this flour mill or whatever. You know, I'd like to see those ideas because we transport a lot, we grow a lot, we do research, we work with the growers. There's a lot of different ways that we hopefully can help bring innovation to life. And again, we don't know everything, so I want to build partnerships and relationships and work collaboratively. Yep.
You have a Twitter account. How are you going to be continuing to use social media and maybe up your Twitter profile?
We're working on all that right now. That was to get us going. Now that we're building out the story of Ardent Mills, we'll continue to be focused on social media. Part of it will be to tell the story of all the great things our supply partners do each and every day for Ardent Mills and what we do, obviously. And I think it's also to connect with people and have them come to us as a source of knowledge and expertise about what's good and bad. Yeah?
CSU student and soil and crops. I was curious what it is that CSU is doing to give you an advantage. As you said, you partnered with.
Yeah, I think all great innovation starts with people, and CSU has Scott Haley, Daryl, everybody in the wheat lab, top notch. I also think they think differently and push us and not afraid to really have a great dialogue, and that helps us as an organization. They listen very well and try to work with us in anticipation of what could be next. And then a lot of times when you get into innovation, it's everybody goes, well, here it is, and that's that, instead of slowing down and listening for a second. But it's just, it really is about the people. It's just top-notch people here at CSU. Yeah?
Could you may have touched on this and I missed it, but
It's
can
down
you,
to 17. Can I go longer? I won't.
I'll talk really fast. Where does the name Ardent Mills come from? Is there an Ardent Mill, or was there, or did you think that up?
Oh, I'm not that smart, remember? We were smart enough to hire a group that could think that name up. What Ardent means is passion. What you will find with every single employee of Ardent Mills, all 2,500 people that proudly call Ardent Mills home, is that they are relentlessly passionate about winning, helping our customers, doing the right things in the community, and taking care of our consumers by protecting their brands. Hopefully you've seen that from me, that I'm very passionate about what we're doing with this organization. But that's what Ardent really means, is passion. All right, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.